Okay, but let's take a quick look at our journal here, because yes, we have picked up some additional side assignments, and we will of course do those eventually, including all those things that have Normandy in front of them for basically, repairing the ship or improving the ship in various ways, or helping out the crew with ingredients for the food, or some wine for, or brandy for Dr. Chakwas. But I think next on our list should be trying to add to our team here. So we have several options, but I think we saw that many of these options for trying to recruit people are happening on Omega, and that includes, but is not limited to, the Professor, who people had recommended that we try to recruit early, and I do think that is the way we should go here. So let's open up our galaxy map. And this is the first time we've opened up our galaxy map in Mass Effect 2, and it looks somewhat similar to what we have seen in previous, or in Mass Effect 1, in that we will also have, of course, a series of planets and what have you in a given system. However, you will notice that we actually have a ship that we drive around here, the Normandy, and we do also have fuel, or at least we did, in the original Mass Effect 2. I imagine, since we still have fuel depots, that is likely still the case here. But I don't recall where we see our remaining fuel stores. So, at least in the original Mass Effect 2, you would drive around with the Normandy and go to the individual planets or other places that you'd like to visit. And then, if you used up a bunch of fuel, then you'd go to the fuel depot and you'd have to buy some fuel to restock. And you will also see that on the perimeter, in that outer circle, you'll see Fathar, Amada, Vamora, or Vamori, and what have you, are all different systems that we can fly to, and so we can make the choice of going there instead. But, as you can see here, we have Omega, Recruit Archangel, Recruit the Professor, Recruit the Veteran, lots of stuff happening there, so I think that is definitely worth us giving a look. So let's go for that. Oh, we can also use the, so those additional systems, the Fathar, Amada, are within this same cluster, whereas if we want to go to a separate cluster, then we'll need to use this mass relay here to travel a larger distance to other sections. So that is similar to Mass Effect 1 in that way as well. But next on our list, I think, is Omega. Either that or, I mean, we can try flying over to some of these places here, like unexplored. So standard, so we have Emporium, which is a planet in this system, and like Mass Effect 1, we can look at other planets in various systems and investigate them. So this is a stand-up methane ammonia gas giant, and Emporium is the main source of helium-3 fuel for the ships coming to or from Omega. Most of its fueling stations are run by criminal cartels who engage in cutthroat, sometimes literally, pricing wars. Emporium is also widely known for its layover stations, where pirates in a hurry can find fuel, ammunition, intoxicants, gambling, and companionship at any hour. So we can scan, and scanning in Mass Effect 2 functions very differently from how it worked in Mass Effect 1. In Mass Effect 1, it was a simple, okay, let's scan this area, or let's scan this planet. Is basically an automatic, okay, if there is anything on this planet, you'll get it, and that's it. Whereas in Mass Effect 2, we break out our scanner, you will see here that what we are looking for is basically any significant sources of resources. And if you look at the right side, you'll see basically a graph of stuff from element 0, iridium, platinum, to palladium. And the higher this bar starts to rise in any given category, the more of that resource we would get if we were to launch a probe on this specific spot of the planet. As you can also see in the right corner there, we only have 10 probes at the moment, and it does cost credits to purchase more of them. So that is an option to do this, but it does take, of course, a little bit of looking around, trying to find the most efficient spots to to send out your probes, because yes, if we were to say launch our probe here, we would get a decent sum of platinum, whereas if we do it here, we'd get basically none. So it is sensitive to where specifically you choose to launch that probe, and you know, in this case it's platinum, in this case we start getting some iridium, and so it'll vary from planet to planet and from location to location. So that's something that we will probably be looking to do more in the future, but I think now is not necessarily the time for us to do that. Just wanted to show you that that is a thing, and can be done at basically any planet. But, as I said, top priority at the moment is definitely to check out Omega, although we did walk right by this, or fly right by this, so maybe we just take a quick look at Urdak. Urdak is a close-orbiting brown dwarf. Most red-brown dwarf binary systems have an average separation of 8 AU. The Sarabarak system is about 12 billion years old. It has long since used up the deuterium, there we go, used to fuel fusion. So Urdak is not luminous like some brown dwarfs are. Urdak is a Class L brown dwarf with a relatively low temperature of 1,300 degrees Celsius, but its heat and gravity have made it unpopular for development. There are rumors that the heads of several of Omega's crime syndicates maintain private residences on the various moons. Whatever the truth of the matter, battles between syndicate vessels are often observed around the ring plane. News outlets on Omega maintain satellites at Urdak's Lagrange points for real-time coverage of these battles, which garner high viewer ratings. Everyone just wants to see people fight. So again, we could also scan this planet, and there are definitely going to be some planets that are generally better at scanning than others. You'll see the scanner results. It's a general overarching description of just how good a certain planet is at giving resources. So in this case, palladium seems like that is, you know, at least in some cases, the resource that is most relevant here, but it varies depending on where we're looking to place our probe. But like I said before, I think that is not necessarily something we are looking to do right now. Just want to show you that that does exist. So, to Omega we go. And Omega is built in the mined-out husk of a metallic asteroid. Omega has been a haven for criminals, terrorists, malcontents for thousands of years. At times, the station has lain idle and abandoned for centuries, only to be reactivated by a new group of outlaws seeking a fresh start. The space station's original, elegant design has given way to haphazard expansion by scrabbling factions of every species. There's no central government or unifying authority on Omega, and nobody can recall a time there ever was one. Population is 7.8 million, so it's pretty darn big. And, other than that, I suppose, well, it's a space station. So it's not the usual atmospheric pressure or temperature or what have you that we would typically be reading about here. I mean, we've got a lot of people here. Let's dock and investigate further. Okay, and so we'll be exploring the area here, so we will be looking for a squad, and well, that means we will be taking Miranda and Jacob with us by default. And we were talking about this a little bit more before, how we have some dossiers here, but these are basically placeholders for people that we could potentially recruit later on. But other thing we can do is we can, oh well, I suppose we did previously look at the additional info for our squad mates, although we can cycle the appearance for Miranda for whatever it's worth. Not a huge fan of that appearance, though. That looks kind of silly to me. So we'll keep things as they are for now with these two. Confirm our selection. Not that we really had any choice in the matter. But before we head out, remember that we did pick up some additional skill points here. And so we were saving up some points for both Jacob and Miranda. And now that we have those points, we can start spending them because we have the 4 necessary to go all the way with Cerberus Officer here. So we can go Cerberus Leader, increasing Miranda's squad leadership abilities, giving her increased combat bonus to squad weapon damage. Or Cerberus Tactician, increasing Miranda's defensive and tactical abilities, giving the increased bonus to squad health. So we're definitely going to upgrade this. Just a matter of which one we prefer here. And yeah, the difference is health versus weapon damage. 7.5 difference either way. And, I mean, at least for us, personally, as Vanguard, where we are at least eventually going to be doing a lot more charging straight into people, getting the additional health would be nice, because there are definitely going to be times when we're going to get hit. So not immediately dying would be nice. But alternatively, you could of course make the case that applying the extra damage means enemies will go down more quickly, and so you'll be fine. Or you'll take people out before they can take you out. So it's sort of what the best offense is the best defense kind of approach. I think we go with the additional health though. I think I may still prefer that. So that's Miranda. Then Jacob does now have enough points to go for incendiary ammo here, which I think is important, because for this one I think there's a clear choice. We can either go with Inferno ammo, which gives an explosive charge, spreading the ammunition payload on impact, potentially igniting the target and all nearby enemies, which does sound good, giving some 3-meter AoE to his fire damage ammo effect. However, I am a big fan of squad incendiary ammo, because this means that he is providing his incendiary ammo bonus, though not as powerful if it were fully upgraded with Inferno ammo, but he's giving everyone in the party additional 40% weapon damage over 3 seconds, which is, I think, quite useful. Quite useful, because that way Miranda doesn't have any ammo abilities. We do have 1 incendiary ammo by default, but his squad ammo, ranked all the way up to 4, is still absolutely going to be better than our rank 1 ammo. So we definitely do this. And that is one of the benefits with Jacob, is that although we have a lot of overlap from an ability standpoint, he can at least specialize in one thing, and we can specialize in other things, so that way we can cover our bases. I still have 1 point remaining here, though. So we could either load up more on Pull, or more on Cerberus Operative, which is his passive. So giving him some health and weapon damage. Well, actually, he doesn't have enough points to upgrade Pull further. Would increase the duration. That might be worth waiting a bit to see if we can get that, because that is certainly quite good crowd control. So yeah, let's stick with this then. So that's the skills. Now we have weapons. So this is another way in which prepping for missions in Mass Effect 2 is different from Mass Effect 1. So we can see for all of our characters that are on this mission, we can select what our options are from a weapon standpoint. And for the most part, we're early enough in the game that we don't really have alternatives. One exception being that we got that message from, I think it was the Elusive Man directly, saying that we have a new heavy weapon that we can experiment with. So we have the grenade launcher, and we've seen that already, but we can also switch that over to the arc projector. The arc projector ionizes targets with a non-visible laser to ready them for high voltage electrical attack. As the lightning attack bolt hits its first target, a sophisticated auto-targeting system paints succeeding targets with the ionization laser, allowing the electricity to take the path of least resistance and arc between them. An entire enemy strike team can be shocked to death with a few pulls of the trigger. So, in this case, I think it's maybe a little bit more long range. I think in terms of the type of defenses that it's effective against, that is different from the grenade launcher. I'm actually surprised that... Oh, it does say here, this one's effective against armor, shields, and biotic barriers, almost everything. Basically just not health, but then again, when it comes to health, probably can take people out with normal weapons that way. So this one doesn't specify if it's particularly effective against any type of defense, although does give some more creative forms of AoE. Of course, this one just gives an explosion, but this one can sort of arc between one enemy and another, and potentially hit a bunch of people that way from, I would think, longer range, or at least that are more spread out. So let's try the arc projector here. And I think in that case, again, we're not going to have any alternatives really for Jacob or Miranda at this stage. So we're good to go.
Welcome to Omega. You're new here, aren't you? I can always tell. Allow me to... Oh, hello, Mocklin. I was just...
Leave, Fargate, now.
Oh, of course, Mocklin. Whatever she wants.
Blasted scavengers. Welcome to Omega, Shepard.
You know who I am?
Of course. We had you tagged the moment you entered the Terminus systems. You're not as subtle as you think. Arya wants to know what brings a dead Spectre to Omega. I suggest you go to Afterlife now and present yourself.
Okay. Arya, you say? Hold on. Slow down.
Get the attitude. I'm not here to cause problems for Omega.
Things explode around you, Shepard. You can't blame Arya for keeping an eye on you. Afterlife, now.
Okay.
I'm receiving quarantine warnings about the slums where Dr. Morton Solus runs the clinic. Anticipate resistance at the transport station. I have also accessed messages between mercenary groups regarding plans to deal with the Archangel. There's a recruiting station at Afterlife that may have information on him.
So remember, we had a couple of ways that we could, or a couple of people we could potentially try to recruit here, at least. And, we've learned a bit about that. Finally, we can open up a map. So, let's see. We are currently at the bottom there where you see that blue circle pulsing out. So we have Arya is the person that Batarian we just encountered was telling us about. So she is apparently in Afterlife. Other than that, we have some shops over to the right. And seems like Afterlife is a fairly large area around here as well. So, we've got some areas to explore for sure. We also might recognize that name here. Zaid.
Shut. Please. You have to help me.
No one said you could talk, jackass.
You Zaid Masani?
Yeah, that's me. You must be Commander Shepard. Oh yeah, we have a galaxy to save.
Okay. Seems like we're getting off to a quick start here. Who's your friend? Who's this guy here? Kicking to death?
My contacts told me we're picking up one man, not two.
Batarian delinquent. Pissed off someone rich enough to hire me to go after him. And for my bring him in alive rates even.
Please. I didn't do it.
I said shut it.
Okay,
Tried
maybe
to
not
leave me
kicking
on
him to
chase
death
all
in
over
that
the
case.
systems. You should have known better. These people always run to Omega.
What's next for this guy then?
What's gonna happen to him?
I'm gonna turn him in for the bounty. Don't much care what happens after that.
Okay, then. I mean, we did hear that he's a bounty hunter, so I suppose that does make sense. What about you? I mean, it sounds like you've got a decent amount of intel on us and what we're trying to do here.
I assume you've been briefed.
I've done my homework. Cerberus sent me everything I needed to know.
Okay. Not very specific, but I suppose we'll take your word for it. And I suppose that does pose the question then, what exactly is your tie to Cerberus? How did you get in contact with Cerberus, an elusive man?
What's your relationship with Cerberus?
Easy. Cerberus is paying me a lot of money to help you on your mission. That's the long and short.
Not many mercs would take a suicide mission for the pay.
Most mercs don't get an offer like the one Cerberus sent me. This mission doesn't sound like good business, but your elusive man can move a lot of credits.
Okay, I mean, but like Shepard said, if you're dead, those credits don't do you any good. So, I mean, welcome aboard?
Good to have you, Zaid. We have a lot to do.
That's what they tell me. I assume the elusive man told you about our arrangement.
No? Not sure he did.
No. I guess he decided to leave that information out of the dossier.
Good thing I asked. Picked up a mission a little while back, just before I signed on with Cerberus. Thought you might be interested. You heard the name Vidos Santiago? He's the head of the Blue Suns, runs the whole organization. Seems he recently captured an Eldfell Ashland refinery on Zoya, and is using their workers for slave labor. The company wants it dealt with.
Okay, I suppose we can do that.
I'll make sure we get that done.
Good. Get it out of the way so we can concentrate on being big goddamn heroes.
Oh.
I better turn this thing in before it starts to stink. I'll be locked and loaded next time you're ready to get some killing done.
So, that's all there is, really, when it comes to, recruiting Zaid there. He is, as it turns out, quite a simple character to, get on our team. We got some Paragon points from that interaction as well. Again, he's technically one of the two-ish DLC, or at least previously DLC characters before he got rolled into the base game with Legendary Edition. So that is perhaps one of the reasons why he's particularly straightforward to get. But he has now joined the squad, so next time we start up a mission, we should see that we'll have the option of course, choosing Miranda, Jacob, and now Zaid as well. So then we have a warning for low power here. We head on through. And here's Afterlife. Or at least the outside of Afterlife. Look at our map here. So, yeah, if we go straight ahead, we've got the Afterlife entrance. That makes sense, based on what we're seeing here. To the left, we have the transport depot. Maybe we take a quick look over there, see what that's all about. See if there's anyone that we can chat with here as well. Got a view of Omega from somewhere over here. Talk to Miranda about it.
Omega, what a piss hole. At least it keeps you on your toes. I've had to come here on business before. I feel like I need a shower afterward, in addition to normal decontamination.
Speaking of which, hold on just a second. I know we haven't spent much time, really any yet, on our codex here, but I'm curious to see, if we can get an entry on Omega here to give us some additional information.
Originally an asteroid rich in element 0, Omega was briefly mined by the Protheans, who eventually abandoned it due to its thick, impenetrable crust. Thousands of years later, nature did what even the Protheans could not. A collision with another asteroid broke Omega in half, exposing its trove of element 0 for easy mining. A rush ensued as corporations and private individuals tried to strike it rich on Omega, and thieves and outlaws followed in their wake. As space became tight, construction of processing facilities extended vertically from the asteroid, creating Omega's jellyfish-like silhouette.
He does kind of look like a jellyfish, you're not wrong.
The station is ringed with enormous mass effect field generators that redirect incoming debris. Today, Omega is a major hub of narcotics, weapons, and EZO trafficking, without even a pretense of civilian government or military control. Only mercenary groups have been able to instill a limited order. The most ruthless is an Asari syndicate run by the notorious Arya Talok.
Okay, so that's the overview on Omega, the place where we just landed, of course. We can also read up on Freedom's Progress, which is the place where we had our previous mission, so maybe that's worth doing a quick debrief there as well.
Freedom's Progress colony was once a typical Alliance settlement, but following complete communications blackout and its apparent destruction, is now a lightning rod for anxiety and dread in the galactic human community. The communications blackout followed an upgrade of the colony's small military force, supplemented by mechs and security drones, with high-powered, tower-mounted Guardian lasers. Colonists complained about construction cost overruns, delays, noise, and damage to the local environment. They also feared the defense array could be seen as provocative to their world's neighbors. Such fears may not have been baseless. Authorities have still offered no explanation for the communications blackout, fueling rumors of plagues, natural disasters, or a cult-inspired mass suicide. Located in strategically insignificant space, Freedom's Progress colony had once offered residents spectacular rainbows, lush marshlands, and stunning mountain ranges. Its potential as an agricultural settlement and tourism wonderland rivaled that of any Alliance colony.
Okay. So there's a look at the two places we've been thus far, and curious, from an organization standpoint, can we at least get an entry on Cerberus, maybe? We can.
Immediately following the First Contact War, an anonymous extranet manifesto warned that an alien attempt at human genocide was inevitable. The manifesto called for an army, a Cerberus, to guard against invasion through the Charon Relay. Derided as survivalist rhetoric written by an elusive man, the manifesto and its anonymous author soon fell off the media radar. But in 2165, terrorists stole antimatter from the SSV Geneva. The sole figure arrested named his sponsor Cerberus. Throughout the 2160s and 2170s, alleged Cerberus agents assassinated politicians, sabotaged starships bearing Ezo, and conducted nightmarish experiments on aliens and humans. Denounced as human supremacist, Cerberus calls itself human survivalist. Counter-terror experts speculate Cerberus may have changed leadership with its recent shift to stockpiling ships, agents, and weapons. Whether he, she, or they, the elusive man hides his finances hidden behind shell companies. Few doubt he will kill anyone attempting to expose him.
So there's a little bit more information on why Cerberus is not exactly the cleanest of organizations, and why I was saying many times before that there was some significance behind people on our crew making the choice of joining Cerberus, because they probably knew that it was not exactly the most reputable of organizations. But then we had the Elusive Man. I think this is probably another good one for us to read up on at the moment, just because he's obviously playing a pretty important role thus far.
The reclusive tycoon calling himself the Elusive Man is a human nationalist focused on advancing human interests, whatever the cost to non-humans. The Citadel Council regards him as a fanatic, posing a serious threat to galactic security. A mysterious maverick, to say the least, the Elusive Man heads the Cerberus network. Dubbed the Elusive Empire by investigators, Cerberus is an allegedly untraceable syndicate of private intelligence agencies, biotics laboratories, engineering and scientific research teams, and lucrative front companies. Branded a terrorist and seditionist organization by authorities, Cerberus is the only human power base other than the Terra Firma Party, strong enough to embarrass, if not threaten, the Council and its human representatives.
Okay, so there's a little bit more on Cerberus and the Elusive Man, who of course is leading Cerberus, in the place where we currently find ourselves. So, let's poke around a little bit more here. See if there's anything else we can find. Got that dude chilling over there, but doesn't seem like too much over on this side. And so, based on what we're hearing from that other guy, the person who was greeting us when we first entered this area, it seemed as if Arya was the person that we wanted to chat with, who, based on what we were reading about before on the Codex entry, is the de facto leader, or at least the closest thing to a de facto leader, on the station. So that's perhaps some reason for concern. Meanwhile, we'll continue to explore, though, before we head over to her, because if we head over in this direction, looks like we can find what appears to be, well, with all those dollar signs, the sort of market area. And of all the characters in Mass Effect 2, for whatever reason, this guy might be the one that I remember. That line might be the one that I remember more so than anything else, to the point where I've dropped that very line in completely unrelated context to a bunch of, or well, at least in context with people who have probably never played Mass Effect before and probably had absolutely no clue what I was referring to. But, you know, it's fun. I like it. Less so that part.
You are a blight. You and you, human. The Protheans cast off the lesser races, the Krogan, the Vorcha, and the humans. And so they dwelled in filth, on worlds made of dirt, feces. And there they lay until they stumble into the skies. The lesser races will be our downfall. The word is clear.
Sure about that?
Let none in my sight continue to live, lest their impurity displease me. The word is clear on this, friends. Humans are the hands of the Reapers, here to commit the galaxy to ruin.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
I cast you out into the cold black. I name you unclean.
Okay.
Bring unto me the children, that I may watch them grow. Soldiers of the cause. The way is clear, my friends. Draw your weapons for the word, or face its terrible wrath.
I mean, as you said, the end is nigh.
The end times will come, not with a bang, but with a sigh. Those who dip their extremities in the well of sin and vice must repent with fire, oil, and gun. Let not fleshly friendships and base urges compel us to sin and neglect. The word makes its demands, and it demands obedience.
I mean, he's a pretty good speaker. Not gonna lie, he dropped a few solid lines there. A few solid bars, but, does seem pretty crazy.
And on this great station, there shall be rejected, and the lesser races given their places in heaven. And this shall be the beginning of the end. The end times are upon us. Repent and restore your souls to glory. Humans, a blight on galactic purity. You, sir.
Think? Yeah, okay. So that's everything now in that case. Heard it all through, but, it's a lot to it. He's pretty funny. But, alas, let us carry on here. And we've got, Harrot over here.
Tentatively excited. Welcome, human. What can I get for you?
Who is, of course, an Elcor, which is, perhaps my favorite species in all of Mass Effect. For reasons that I'm sure are blatantly obvious here. What exactly do you have?
What kinds of things do you sell here?
Friendly, salvaged parts. All kinds. Mostly legitimate. With
Mostly
pride,
legitimate.
my prices are the lowest anywhere on the station. You won't find salvage cheaper than mine.
I have things to do.
Courteously, have a fine day. Take a look at my kiosk if you want to buy anything.
So we actually buy things here. And, interestingly, we do have some options here. If we would like to get a visor, which is a new helmet we could use, which would increase our headshot damage by 10%. Remember that I think we chose to use one that gave us additional life, and then we had the option to use one that gave us some generic weapon damage. So this one, the number is higher, but of course does require that you actually get a headshot, so I think is definitely best for, well, classes where you're expecting to be sniping some people from afar, and that's not really our thing, so probably not something we're looking to do. Also have some collectibles here. A Geth model ship, small ship model of the Geth cruiser, typical of the kind involved in Battle of the Citadel. And we have a chestplate, which I don't think we had any alternatives here previously. I don't love the aesthetics of it, but the capacitor chestplate does have microwelves developed by Armax Arsenal, which store part of the energy directed at the armor and use it to jumpstart the kinetic barrier recharge cycle, reducing the delay between our shields, or the amount of time that it takes for our shields to start regenerating by 10%. And that may not sound like a lot, but that is pretty important because, you know, when your shields go down, of course, you're more vulnerable. Takes less damage before you get killed. But that generally means that what you're going to want to do is go back hiding in cover and wait a second for you to get those shields back. And, well, I say wait a second, but it takes a little while. And so during that time, you're vulnerable. And only once you get your shields back, especially against difficult opponents, are you going to be looking to more aggressively combat people. So if you can reduce the amount of time when you're vulnerable like that, then shield capacitor chestplate could be a decent option. Then we also have a hack module, which is an Omni tool upgrade, doubling the time it takes, the time limit we have to hack. So convenience-wise, it could be worthwhile, but wouldn't directly affect our combat abilities or anything like that. Then we have Terminus Armor, gives us Storm Speed, which is basically our sprint, increasing our shields by 15%, and increases all weapon reserve ammo by 10%. That's a lot of stuff. It is also, if I'm not mistaken, surprisingly inexpensive, or at least compared to the hack module. Then we have the Black Storm, which is a gravitational singularity projector, which is the brainchild of weapon designer Eli Wagner, one of the few humans who earned the privilege of serving with Asari commando units. Overawed with how the Asari could create biotic singularities to pull opponents out from behind cover, he was determined to duplicate the feat technologically. Wagner's team created a weapon that could elevate target particles of matter to near infinite mass, creating a gravitational singularity and drawing nearby objects inward for a short time. The rapidly increasing gravity rips the target apart as it pulls the enemy closer to the singularity center. While the mass effect field destabilizes and suddenly returns to normal mass, the result is explosive and inflicts additional trauma to the enemy. The weapon almost didn't happen. Early designs were dangerously unstable. It sounds like it would be pretty dangerous to develop this thing. The science for creating a hyper-dense mass effect field was well established, but projecting it at an adjustable range proved elusive. Interesting choice of words. It was only after 6 years of development that the weapon finally qualified for Systems Alliance AIHW, Advanced Individual Heavy Weapon, trials. By that time, the Singularity Projector was rugged, reliable, and easy to use and repair. It immediately went to field tests in a small-scale desert war on Earth, where the weapon terrified opponents who had never seen its effects before. The swirling sand and dust sucking soldiers into its center served as the centerpiece of many propaganda videos. In the resulting media coverage, the Wagner Arms M490 GSP became known as its simpler nickname, the Black Hole Gun. His dream finally a reality, Wagner personally altered its name to the more marketable Black Storm. So, also, not that expensive. Potential option there. It's an intriguing one at that. But may not necessarily be looking to shell out all the monies just yet. Just curious to see what our options are here, and get the chance to talk a little bit more with the people around here as well. Doesn't look like we can chat with these people. But we have Marsh over here.
Something here for humans. Not much.
Well, in that case, you can see here, we again have the option to use either Charm or Intimidate, which, well, I guess we were talking about previously. This is actually the first time we've seen it. It is, again, based on how much of your Paragon or Renegade meters you have filled, rather than specifically allocating points in Charm or Intimidate, as was the case in Mass Effect 1. So a little bit different in that sense, and this is one of the reasons why we tried to deliberately spend our points on the ability, our passive ability, that gives us a percentage boost to the amount of Paragon and Renegade points that we've gotten thus far. So, alright, convince us to shop here then.
I'm in the mood to spend some money, but I think I can find better stuff elsewhere.
You won't find a better selection anywhere. Unless you're willing to risk the black market.
I'd rather deal with you than give money to those thieves. You sure we can't make a deal?
Look, I can't compete with the black market. I have to make a profit. I'll do what I can. But don't tell anyone or I'll lose my shirt.
Okay, get some Paragon points out of that. But yeah, this guy who originally was not too keen on selling things to humans. So we can get some pants. Actually, these pants are these. I forget if there's individual boots and trousers, but still give us additional storm fleet, which again is basically our sprint. Then we get another model ship, which is again just a collectible. And we have a sniper rifle damage upgrade, which is not a type of weapon that we are trained on, but it does improve our sniper rifle damage by 10% for our entire squad. So although it won't affect us, it could still be helpful if we have teammates who are looking to use snipers. Then, excuse me? Excuse me? Not sure about that. Capacitor helmet, a recent design. This Alliance-made helmet stores microcapacitors in its structure to replenish spent kinetic barriers. The Transpari Plast armor panel on its top can be removed to access capacitors for shield maintenance. Reduces the delay before shields start regenerating by 10%. So again, if we were to go all out on maximizing, or I guess minimizing the amount of time that it takes for our shields to come back, then that could certainly be helpful. Then again, do remember that when it comes to us as Vanguard with our biotic charge ability, we can recharge our shields using that charge. And so, of all the classes out there that could use this ability, or use this equipment, Vanguards might be the ones that benefit from it the least, at least assuming that we are willing to charge into the enemy, which thus far we've been a little bit reluctant to do until we upgrade it a little bit further. Then we have the Blood Dragon armor, originally created for Earth's Urban Combat Championship League. The set of armor has undergone as much or more field testing than those of modern militaries. It uses a unique proprietary power cell that costs as much as a EUCC rookie's contract. The armor's microframe computer adapts to any top-tier Omni-tool, kinetic barrier, or biotic amp, giving breathtaking and error-free performance. The chest and shoulder pieces bears the logo of the Edmonton Blood Dragons, and the inside of the armor bears the signatures of the entire team. When and how the elusive man got his hands on the armor is unknown, but several of the signatures bear messages such as Expletive, the Geth, and Shepard, get well soon. It gives us power damage and shield strength. Now that's probably something that we'd be more inclined to use. Also, this is Dragon Age armor, in case that isn't clear, which is another game that the previous game that BioWare, the studio that made this game, had created. So yeah, the power damage and the shield strength, probably something that lends itself a little bit more to our playstyle as a Vanguard. So this does look a little bit intriguing. May opt to buy that on a later occasion, but at the moment, just browsing, seeing what our options are, you know. And so we've seen Harrot's Emporium, the Omega Market, and then I don't think we caught Kenn's Salvage. I think we actually went past here. Let's see if we can take a look at that as well. Let's see. Over on this side? Hold on. Might have gotten distracted by the Prophet. Where are you, Kenn? Oh, is he around the back side here? Because again, the label on his store, relative to where it was actually pointing, was a little bit different. So, we've of course run into several Batarians here.
This place. How can these people be left to rot like this?
You don't understand, or you don't want to?
Doesn't really matter.
No. Omega has worked this way for a very long time. No one's changing it now.
I suppose you may be correct about that. We've seen many Batarians thus far. However, we've heard mention of another species, though we have not yet encountered them, I don't think, until perhaps right now.
Human, tell Captain Gabon we not kill anyone today.
So we may technically have wanted to do a few things before talking to you, because we have no idea who this Captain Gabron is.
I don't know a Captain Gabron. Why would I tell him anything?
We not trust you. Tell Gabon we know his tricks. We not kill anyone today.
Okay,
I'll
goodbye.
just be going.
In that case, oh, lovely.
Go away. Talk too much. Gabon's thugs get no more. We leave.
Good talking to you.
No more talk. We know Gabon's tricks. We leave.
Yeah. In fact, I don't even know to what extent we might have missed out on stuff. by not having spoken to this Gavorn guy first. And also, I missed out. I mistakenly forgot to check out that option down there, the bottom wheel, to get a little bit more information from that guy. Not realizing that he was going to, well, turn around and leave as soon as that conversation ended. So, that's unfortunate, but hopefully we'll get the chance to learn a little bit more about that species in the not-so-distant future, because I do believe we got a codex entry on them, so we'll look at that maybe on a future occasion. This is the guy I was looking for, though, Kenn, and Kenn's Salvage.
Hello there. Might I interest you in some salvage tech? Every credit goes toward a ticket to get me off this forsaken rock.
Ooh, hold on a second. So you're trying to get out of here? Maybe we can cut you a deal. You're obviously a Quarian, and, I mean, like I was saying before, hadn't seen any Quarians in Mass Effect 1 outside of just Tali. Then we had, of course, Tali showing up with a group of Quarians. They, didn't fare so well in Freedom's Progress, but, here is another guy, and, does seem as though he could use a little bit of help.
I buy a lot of parts and equipment. Maybe we can make an arrangement.
Well, you seem like a decent person, but you can't breathe a word of it to Harrot.
Of course.
Then we have a deal. Maybe I'll at least sell something to you.
Okay, so then why are you here in that
What brought
case?
a nice kid like you to Omega?
My pilgrimage. What money I had got stolen within a few days, so I decided to sell salvage parts. You can see how that turned out. Harrot's forcing me to sell high, and I can't even afford a ticket off this station.
I mean... Okay, tell us about Harrot. We might be able to help you out here, pay your way out of here. But, the other thing... Small little note, but, I think just about every one of the Quarians that we've encountered thus far, and perhaps will encounter, does have, you know what, generally a similar accent, whereas in Kenn's case, very different. It's, surprising. It does sort of, you know, in some ways it seemed fitting that the Quarians, all being from the flotilla, had a similar way of speaking, although Kenn, in some ways, does stand out in that sense.
Why does Harrot control your prices?
Harrot made me swear not to undercut him, no matter what. He was here first, so it's his right. But no one will buy from me when he's so much cheaper. I can't save enough money for a ticket off the station.
Okay, maybe we can chat with Harrot in that case. Worst comes to worst, we could potentially pay you off this station.
I could go talk to Harrot for you. Get him to ease up.
I won't stop you. If you can convince him to lay off, then maybe I'll get off this station after all. His shop's up the ramp, near where Marsh sells his goods. Anything you can do will be much appreciated.
Okay.
I have to go.
Let's see what we can do
Please
then.
check with my kiosk to see what I have for sale. And thank you.
Yeah, so it's a little strange, and what, suddenly we are behind the counter? Okay, I don't think we did that. But, a little strange in Mass Effect 2 how you technically don't buy directly from the shopkeepers, you buy specifically from their kiosks like this. So we can get heavy weapon ammo, max capacity increased. We can get, well, some decouplings that, or couplings, I should say, that you may remember from a previous conversation that we had with the engineers down in the Normandy. Pristine set of discontinued P6 FBA couplings used to monitor Mass Effect fields aboard starships. So that's something we'd like to pick up, as well as heavy skin weave. It's a cybernetic upgrade that gives Shepard 10% increased health. Strong synthetic fibers can be woven through the skin, dramatically reducing damage taken for most attacks. These fibers also act as a metagel conduit, improving healing. So, yeah, I like the sound of that, too. And improving our shotgun damage. Now, shotguns, probably something we're going to be using a fair bit as a Vanguard, so that's intriguing. And the Matic is a medium-range semi-automatic rifle effective against armor, shields, and barriers. Upgrades the Avenger assault rifle. So it's another alteration, another option for our assault rifle users, although at the moment we don't have any, or at least we haven't used any yet. Matic is a semi-automatic hybrid weapon with an assault rifle's low heat production and a sniper rifle's punch. So it's kind of, yeah, a middle ground between sniper rifles and assault rifles. Though it does not have a sniper rifle's precision scope, marksmen favor its increased power over that of an assault rifle to bring down hardened targets. Its lack of a full auto setting is advertised as a feature rather than a shortcoming, since it curbs soldiers' tendency to spray inaccurate fire under stress. Then last we have the Geth Plasma Shotgun, which is a 3-barreled Geth weapon that fires miniature but potent cluster rounds of superconducting projectiles and has a longer range than standard shotguns. A 2-stage trigger system allows for either quick fire capacitors or a charge and release attack to electrify the projectiles as they exit the weapon. As the rounds hit the target, they fragment and electricity arcs between the pieces, flash converting the air to conductive plasma. The resulting impact, heat, and electrical charge overload shields and barriers and causes massive trauma to unarmored targets. So, like I said, we are of course likely to rely pretty heavily on our shotgun as a vanguard. That is, in many ways, one of our go-to weapons. And the plasma shotgun in particular, I think, may stand out to us as a really good option. So that is definitely something we're going to want to strongly consider picking up here. But before we do, let's talk to the other merchant around here, the one that has perhaps been causing some trouble for Kenn. This guy, where were you? He was up here. Harrot.
Tentatively excited. Welcome, human.
Tentatively excited.
What can I get for you?
So here's the thing. Could work with that Quarian, putting him in his place. No, I think we want to help Kenn out. He seems like a good guy. Just stuck in a bad situation, so let's talk about the Quarian.
Tell me about your deal with the Quarian over there.
Suspicious. If I had made such a deal, I would certainly not be inclined to discuss it. Accusatory. I don't understand how it is any concern of yours.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think you should leave the Quarian alone.
What if you and I make a deal? You let him set his own prices, and I won't break your legs.
That's pretty aggressive, Shepard. That was a Paragon option.
Drive a hard bargain, human.
I haven't even started.
Resignation.
Was it?
Very well. I will release the Quarian from his promise. Conciliatory. To show there is no ill will, I offer you a discount on my own wares.
Cool. Sounds good.
I have things to do.
Courteously, have a fine day. Take a look at my kiosk if you want to buy anything.
So that was apparently the Paragon option, but that was a very Renegade-like approach to that situation. And if you're wondering what the difference between Paragon and Renegade is, that is a good example of, you know, threatening bodily harm to someone. Generally not the virtuous way to go about doing things. So tend not to see that on the Paragon side, to the point where I thought that I had potentially mispressed that and accidentally chosen the Renegade route.
I heard you spoke to Harrot. Thank you so much. At this rate, I'll be off the station in no time.
Good. I mean, we could pay your way off here, although not sure you need it at that point, I suppose.
How much do you need to get off Omega?
Let's
I
ask.
still need 1,000 credits to pay my way, but I couldn't let you do that. This is my mistake on my pilgrimage. It's my problem.
I'm actually not sure if we buy 1,000 credits worth of stuff here, if that is sufficient. And, you know, he's like, all right, that's enough, I'm on my way. Or if we need to directly pay him 1,000 credits outside of his kiosk. So, let's try.
Please check with my kiosk to see what I have for sale. And thank you.
Actually, oh well, we gained some experience from that, because of course that was tied to a quest. There was a small assignment, the struggling Quarian. In case that wasn't clear that was a quest, Harrot has been convinced to stop his harassment of Kenn. Kenn will have a much easier time getting off Omega now. Much easier, you say, but can we perhaps actually get him out of here? Just a question now. Saying goodbye or giving him 1,000 credits? I mean, 1,000 credits actually isn't that much. We've actually surprisingly accumulated a fair number of credits already. So, you know what? We'll go for it.
Here you go. 1,000 credits. Get out of here.
Thank you. With this, I can finally continue on my pilgrimage. I'm going to buy my ticket right now. Thank you again.
we get some Paragon points out of that as well. And significant that we are technically buying things from kiosks and not people, because as you can see here, we do still have access to his shop. It's not like he's gone and suddenly we can't buy this stuff, so no worries there. Like I said, I think of all the things here, the plasma shotgun is probably what is most intriguing to me, and also, of course, just generic damage and health is quite nice too. So, yeah. Let's see, how expensive is that relative to the amount of credits that we have? It's not that big of a chunk. Let's go for it. We buy that. Thematic, less concerned about that, with it being an assault rifle, and we don't have access to assault rifles right now, so I think we'll do just fine. Where's the shotgun damage?
Useful.
Would definitely be useful, as could the heavy skin weave. And let's pick up the couplings as well. And the heavy weapon ammo. That is all
this
stuff
is valuable.
will be useful to us. Although at this point, yeah, now we have blown through our credits quite aggressively. So we're probably going to need to hold back a little bit after having done that. I think we picked up some really good stuff there. And the list just keeps on going. Yeah, that shotgun in particular, I think, is going to be a very nice addition.